Hello, I'm Marcus Boston. Quick educational video, and today we are going to talk about how the question was sent to me or brought to me: body cooling. Is this a cure for HIE? Want to know what I'm getting at here? Stay with me as I share with you this very important information. All right, so when the question came up and it was body cooling, what this person was essentially getting at was a treatment that is now being used in a lot of places for HIE, and it is called hypothermia treatment or hypothermia cooling. I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but I'm going to talk about it again because I think that this is a very important issue and that parents have to understand what we're talking about here. And I'm going to discuss it from a medical legal standpoint. So HIE, or hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, quickly is a reduced level of blood and oxygen, which can lead to a brain injury. This can happen during, and in the context of what I'm talking about, this can happen during labor and delivery. There are tools that the hospitals that they can use to be able to determine how well a baby is tolerating a vaginal delivery. So there's the electronic fetal heart monitor, for example, and it can relay information to doctors and nurses about what's going on and how well your baby is tolerating a vaginal delivery. And so if there are problems during labor and delivery in regards to blood and oxygen issues, if these problems aren't fixed, if they're not remedied, if there are conservative treatment methods that are being used and we're not getting any good results, then doctors have to move, when warranted, to an emergency C-section to go ahead and help the baby out. And so what you can have is that if this reduced level of blood and oxygen, if it goes on for too long, the baby can suffer a brain injury at birth. And parents can see this in some instances. The baby may be blue in color. The baby may have to be resuscitated. There may be issues with seizures. Baby has to be handed off to the NICU. All of these types of things can occur when we're talking about a blood and oxygen or a brain injury type of situation. This hypothermia treatment is something that can be used in which essentially what they're doing is the doctors, they're looking to cool the baby down. That's what they're doing, and it's to try to help out with everything. But you've got to understand that hypothermia treatment or therapy, that is not a cure for HIE. Once there are areas in the brain, once these things are injured, then the hypothermia cooling is not going to work to cure the injury. It is a treatment that can be used to try to help slow down the damage that has been done. So you've really got to understand when we're talking about, as this person said, body cooling or hypothermia cooling, that this is a treatment option. Right now, there is no cure for HIE. We don't have a cure yet for that. Same thing is going to be said for CP, cerebral palsy. And in some instances, what I've seen is that in some cases that if a baby does have an HIE diagnosis, depending on the severity of the HIE diagnosis, there can be a subsequent CP or cerebral palsy diagnosis down the line. Now, not every baby may deal with this, but depending on the severity of the HIE diagnosis, CP is something that parents have to be on the lookout for in certain circumstances. So the purpose of today's video was to try to help you understand a little bit more about hypothermia cooling, why it is important, but you got to understand that this is not a cure for what is going on. If you have more questions, if you want to speak with me further about what's happened with your baby, maybe hypothermia treatment or therapy was something that your baby needed, and now the doctors are talking about an HIE diagnosis, or you've now went past the HIE diagnosis, you're at the CP level, and you want an investigation as to what caused this. Was this something that the doctors and the nurses, that they failed to find, or they failed to diagnose and treat during labor and delivery, or was it something else? If you have these questions, there's a telephone number down below. Go ahead and pick up the phone and call me. I talk with parents and families all the time about these issues. One more thing before I get out of here. I practice law here in the state of Maryland, and if you are not in Maryland, because this video is on the internet, and you contact my office, you got to understand that we have to use local counsel or co-counsel. That is an attorney in your state to help with everything, if this is something that we think that we can assist you with. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law here in the state of Maryland at Boston Law Group LLC. And we will see you next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.